Are you a sneakerhead? A baller? Want to know about the hottest brands you can lace up and run with? Well, get ready because we got all the details right here. It's Kicks and Bricks, where we got game on the streets and on the court. Here's your host, Jamel Cutler.
You what you think about Vegas PD raiding Keefe D home, and do you think he'll actually, serve time for what he allegedly did?
Vegas PD full of shit. That was just all posturing. I don't know the political ploy, but it was more posturing. And Keffe D not gonna spend a day in jail. You know what I mean? Especially not 30 years later. They just
Exactly, man.
no evidence. You know what I mean? It's like the people that would need to come forward ain't gonna do it, and then you would still have to build a case around a bunch of still hearsay to some degree.
Exactly, man. Like, to me, I was thinking, like, after all this time, what do they think that they'll actually find? So
I saw like different stories, cause what they were saying, like they were talking about. It was like, yeah, well, he had some bullets, and the bullets might have been from. I'm like, bruh, cuz don't got no bullets that's 30 years old in his house. He didn't keep a box of bullets. Like, yeah, these is the box of bullets that we killed Tupac with. Like, that just ain't what you thinking about in that life. But I got a bet with Steele, with Norman Steele from the Gangster Chronicles, my brother and shit. And he was like, he just knew it. He was like, man, I'm telling you, he's gonna get around. Like, zero chance, bro. Zero chance.
I don't know, man. Like 2023 has been such a weird year. Like,
yeah, low key.
like
Crazier things have happened, but I can't see it, dog. I can't see it because you would need people to go to court. You know what I mean? And people worried about their reputation. Not to mention, you wouldn't have any physical evidence.
Have you ever had any interactions with him? With
Keefe?
Yeah.
I had interactions with Keefe when I was a kid, when I was younger.
What was that like?
Keefe is a cool nigga, man. He was a rich nigga my whole life. You know what I mean? As far as like, they neighborhood, the South in particular, the South Side was like a wealthy gang. You know what I'm saying? Like Keefe, Fink. It was some names that really were like big deals in Compton. Like, I know it's a lot of rhetoric around his name amongst all of him and his peers and all of those guys, but like growing up under them dudes' legacy, Keefe's name was like, he was a rich nigga, you know what I mean? And he was a well-respected rich nigga, you know what I mean? So even Dre, you know what I mean? Even Freaky Dre, Big Dre, like they were all respected. Them dudes was something, you know what I mean? And he always was a stand-up dude. Even recently when I talked to him about the song, I asked him, like, hey, are you okay with this? And he was like, yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, shit, the Cracker's been doing this, so he always been a all right dude to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had like any interactions with Orlando?
No, never. Only Dre. Dre, who they said allegedly was in the car. My third show ever, he booked me for my third show ever. They do a thing called Lane Day in the South where they celebrate Baby Lane. They used to. And they do it in these mansions. Most people don't know that in Compton, behind Compton College, is some mansions. Like, I think they built those for the alumni of Compton College, or which was Compton College at the time. I think it's like El Camino South or West or some shit now. But they built these mansions behind Compton College for the alumni of the college. And now I think regular people own the property. So they rent them out to people for events. So the South Side, they've been such a get money gang for a long time. They just been having a lot of money. They used to rent these places and have these like celebrations. And one of the things they would do was a thing called Lane Day, where they would celebrate their homeboy and him being a rider. And Dre was throwing it this year. I think he threw a few of them. And at this time, White Lightning was like the biggest CD in Compton at the time. And he booked me, gave me $4,000 to come perform, which is kind of partly how I got to the story of what happened. You know what I mean? Like, we all heard what happened before, but I had a different details because I got the story from them and they people.
Oh, so they basically told you like what happened
I
Straight up.
always ask questions, man. Like, I'm not gonna be around nobody. Like, when Jimmy Henchman was managing Game, I asked what happened to Tupac, and that's, Jimmy Henchman. You hear that name, you know what I mean? You like, hold up, nigga. Like, Machiavelli is my favorite album. Like, what happened with this? And you always realize the story is two sides, and it's a lot of nuanced points that ain't really addressed. So
What was that
I
interaction?
never didn't ask questions to somebody like even Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack hooked me up with my Wyclef feature when I first got in the game in 2008, 7, 8. I asked him questions. They'll tell you though. They'll tell you. Like I'm be like, hold up, nigga, what happened with y'all? Or what was this about?
So what did Henchman and Jack tell you about Pac?
It was just a really complicated situation. It was something to do with money that nobody seems to ever bring up. And it just went bad, but it wasn't like about I could tell you one thing, talking to them, they didn't want no harm to come to Tupac. For sure. And even the way, it's funny because Big Face was there, Gang was there. When I asked Jimmy in front of them, they kind of scoffed, like, why would you ask this nigga that? And I'm like, nigga, this is the only way I know who this nigga is. And it's like, if you're gonna keep being in my face, and Jimmy Henchman is a cool dude. Like, I know he locked up and shit, and I know they got all this crazy shit, but like he actually is a really cool dude. You know what I mean? To me, he was cool. So without being too much about, because it was a personal conversation that's not public, you know what I mean? Like, for sure, he didn't want harm to come to Tupac. And for sure, when I talked to Jack, they talked about him. They revered him in a way I could tell they had genuine love for him. So I don't think it was never like, fuck that nigga, he was blah, blah, blah. Even in passing, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. So I think the story is a little nuanced. And I do think all the people around them and Pac and them know. And it's kind of crazy that nobody wants to tell the story of what really between. About Tupac. Like him and 50, that shit serious. You don't fuck with her. But with Pac, it wasn't, even Jack, it was never like, man, fuck that nigga. Yeah, it was never like that. It was like you could tell that was their guy, and some shit just happened between them. And they really still feel like, honestly, both of them feel like they were wronged in the situation. That was the different part. That's something I could say. Jack feels like for sure he was wronged. Like he didn't do nothing wrong to nobody.
It's been like 3 or 4 years since Tupac Must Die came out. Do people still talk shit about that?
Every day. Every day.
Really?
It's people who think somebody hit me today was like, I'm surprised you're still out after what you did to Tupac. And I'm like, bro, like I get it was dope. Like, at first that used to tickle me, right? Because I'd be like, damn, like this is so dope. People think I killed Tupac, right? And that's not dope to kill Tupac, obviously, right? But it was dope that your art was so detailed and so cleverly put together. You know what I mean? That people really like thought this was like some kind of admission of guilt. And like, kids who was young was like, oh, that's fucked up. And I had relatives ask, family members like, man, Uncle G killed Tupac. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, and that was cool at first. I thought that was a great like reflection of me doing my job as a deliverer of culture. But now it's fucking offensive. It's like, all right, it's been 3 years now, man. Why the fuck haven't you just did the extra homework and read and see like, okay, he's just telling the story from the person accused of killing Tupac.
Right. And I mean, like, I'm not a fan of what happened to Tupac, but I kind of like the artistic direction that you took because all these stories like you never hear from like Baby Lane's point of view.
Yeah. This all came from like I had this really dope sabbatical. I would say something like that, where I was just learning about hip hop and learning about my responsibility. And one thing I really understood from hanging out and being in the Bronx and traveling around the country is my job to be the voice of the streets, the voice of the voiceless. And when I was growing up, Tupac was the underdog. That was our guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But in 2023, man, he is everybody's. You know, there's white folks in my DM threatening me, talking about they want to bring harm to me because I explained this story. And it was like white people like, I ought to kill you, bro. It's like, damn. I mean, and that's not, when Tupac was alive, he was just ours, you know, versus now he belonged to the world. So I feel like that would be a story that I could explain something about gangbanging, you know, which ended up being an expression of morality. I understood what my job was, and I was able to go through with the assignment. It wasn't about, the fucked up part is, it wasn't about him dying.
Facts,
It was
yeah.
about the mentality that led up to the situation, you know,
Mhm.
point in to point out, but people just ain't gonna get it. So it's all good.
You know, your new album, Cancel Dee Nutz, dropped the other day. That title's crazy. Like, can you tell us a little bit about the new album?
It's the first socially charged album in hip hop. That's for sure. Like, I've heard politically charged albums in hip hop. This is the first socially charged album where it literally takes society by the horns and just rams his face into the ground. You know what I mean? Things that people want to find cool and things I disagree with, or things that I think represent. It's another dope idea like Tupac Must Die that hasn't hit yet because there's no video, but there's a song on there called The Tale of Whitney's Plug. And it talks about what happened to the person most likely that sold drugs to Whitney Houston. It's more of a hypothetical than a reality, but it talks about how drug dealers kind of have this same traumatic experience, you know, eventually as the fiend itself, as the fiend, you know, themselves. So, it's socially charged. It's, you know, it's ridiculously street. You know what I mean? Like, I think I did a good job representing my barbershop, being the voice of all of my barbershop's concerns, like things they see in society. It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. I think it's really good, man. Like, I don't want to try to, I need more time to live with it before I truly give it a full out ranking as a fan, where I'm not working on it and I'm just playing it straight through and I'm listening to it. But it's a good array of ideas and canvases painted. You know what I mean? It's dope. It's dope.
You know, times are different from when you and I were like younger and coming up. And me personally, you know, I think cancel culture, you know, has just gone too far in society. But that's just me though.
Yeah, shit.
You can't
But
do
they
anything.
can only cancel you if they made you. And I
Mhm.
think that's the gist of the title itself. The gist of the title is like, you know, you couldn't cancel me because you didn't make me. Like, I'm really made by the streets. Like, really. And it's funny, one of my homeboys was really successful, a brother of mine's a real successful friend. He's actually gay. He was talking shit. He was like, I'm finna put out a diss record on you because he heard something for bitches. And I'm like, it's funny to me that like people from the LGBTQ community gonna be like, oh, he's talking about us. It's like, y'all just really feel like y'all the center of all attention. I think it's great. I love it. What I love about it is a lot of West Coast hip hop, you know what I mean, is in a weird place. You know, people trying to figure it out. I've came to the conclusion that it's gonna be hard for me to give you things to discover because our culture has been in the forefront for 40 years now. Like, I think Colors came out like 85. I mean, that was the first time you saw LA street culture, you know, this phenomenon that's going on now. And it's hard for me to allow y'all to discover something about where I'm from. Because god damn it, man, y'all didn't seen 13 movies, you know, 1,000 motherfucking rappers, you know what I mean? Videos, documentaries, podcasts, niggas talking, random niggas with that's gang members that got YouTubes. You know, culturally, you have discovered so many things about the West that You know what I mean? It's hard for me to present something new. You know, that's what made Tupac Must Die so special. It's presenting something new, and that's hard. Morality was something, you know, an aspect of culture that hadn't been really dealt with on the West or through hip hop. But I got really more excited about making it a recovery mission.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been a long time since you heard shit about the West that made you feel the West. You know, when you hear, you like, oh, that's them boys with them attitudes, checking the whole rap game. You know, when they would make fun of MC Hammer, you know what I mean? When they would be just clowning, they didn't, you know, they nuts was the biggest in the room and they'd say whatever and they didn't give a fuck. They'd call her a bitch and talk shit to the president. That was the West, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like it recovered that energy for people like us that grew up in our time period or close to us. And for, you know, a younger audience, they get to discover what made the West Coast special in the first place, you know, having the biggest nuts in the room.
You know, before we get into the tracks on the album, you know, I have to commend you on the artwork on the album cover because like nobody really puts any real effort into covers anymore.
Yeah.
And to me, like it kind of gives me that Warren G type of vibe, the Regulators G-Funk type vibe.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's what it kind of.
That was the third cover. You're right, because I sure was like, yeah, that ain't it. Like I had one idea, I was like, oh, it's gonna be dope, and I tried. I was like, yeah. The other one, got that one. I was like, but I'm looking away, and I was like, yeah, but that's it. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. Like, you know, that was one of the few times that I shook Brandon. You know what I mean? In marketing, I was like, you know what? This shit fly, and it's funny because. Again, I was talking to Steele, you know, who manages me. He was like, yo, that album cover is low-key kind of classic. I'm waiting to see it on vinyl. You know what I mean? I got the vinyl will be here in a week. I'm waiting to see it on vinyl. You know what I'm saying? Where I could just stare at it like, you know, that shit is dope. I'm proud of this record. I was proud of Glass House 2. I was proud of the reimagined version of Glass House 1, but this record is special. Not to mention working with EP. You know what I'm saying? EP is from Watts. He's about to Jordan down. So we've been talking about working. And it's funny because the record I thought we would make, cuz it's like, you know, closer to a Scarface, LAX, you know, Games album, you know, more of a mid-tempo thing. And it ended up being this charged, you know, socially charged, high-powered, you know what I mean? Like assault on society. So that shit is fresh to me. I like that part of it for sure.
Facts, man. And you should definitely be proud, man, because especially for like the sound of the album, like I'm from New York, but to me, just from listening, you know, it kind of felt like it was in 1993 in Watts somewhere.
And what's dope is to me, it's not funky. It's like a boogie. And it's because EP is a piano player. So it's not a really grip of crazy bass lines. The bass lines are really simple. They're not like Dr. Dre, DJ Quick, Battle Cat. His melodies are all played straight through. Like he don't loop shit because he's a player. So, you know, he played on Kanye's first 5 albums. He played on Dre's albums. He played on Scarface's and got production on Scarface and Game albums. So he plays. So when you hear songs like The Loke, that's not a sample. This motherfucker is playing it at 110 BPM, just getting off, you know what I mean? And it's special, you know what I mean? And it's one of those type of projects to me that's going to keep giving, you know what I mean? When people see the live show and how we going to do it, and it reminded me of Little Richard explaining why he plays his music fast, because everybody was trying to copy him, but they couldn't play as fast as him. And to me, that's what EP did. Like, that's where he kind of separated himself from his contemporaries that are more funky. Like, yeah, but I'm a real, you know, piano player.
You know, earlier you just mentioned Kanye, and one of the most interesting tracks on your new album is, you know, Kanye Shouldn't Marry That Bitch.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about it?
So it's really just an oldie to the conversation of you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. I'm watching guys do that often today. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't blessed enough to grow up with, you know, Dr. Dre or DJ Quick's music or Snoop's music where they was like, yo, you can't do that. So there's nobody telling them that. Actually, culturally, people are being taught to look over a woman being a hoe and still be with her. And then you have all these traumatic things happening where people breaking up, and it's crazy because you should have never wiped that one in the first place. So I feel like it was my duty as a productive cell, you know, a functioning organism, like a simple cell, to pass this information to the next generation. Like, maybe nobody told you that because the guys you listening to are wife and whores, and you think that's cool. But look, this is what the niggas I listen to told me, and this is what I live by. You can't turn a one, you can't turn a whore into a housewife. So I passed it to them. And the marketing side is just simple. Like, right, I feel like people, they don't really care if the topic, they can't even imagine what's going on. So you have to you have to give it to them really simple. You have to kind of like, this person is trying to do it at the highest level. The song was done. We didn't even think of anybody in the song. It was just really a dope song. The title worked because it fit the topic. Like, this is a perfect example. And Kanye was just going through a lot at the time. And I was like, yo, this is why you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, bro, because you're going to go through this. And the long title is Panic at the Disco. Right when I was getting out of high school, Panic at the Disco was coming out with these songs. They had these stupid long-ass titles. And I was thinking about where we at in time and space with Spotify, Apple title, streaming apps. And it's like the only thing you could really see big, the picture is even small. The only thing you can see big is the title of the song. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make something that's long. Like, so shout out to Panic at the Disco for the title.
How do you feel about the way like Ye is portrayed by like some mainstream media? Like, to me, the most part, I think he's just misunderstood to me.
So Ye is in my top five artists favorite for sure, period, right?
As a producer too?
Huh?
As a producer too?
Whatever. This is a bad motherfucker, right? But I was having a conversation with my homie earlier, and he was asking me, like, where do I was telling him we're going to lose hip hop. Like, we lost jazz, like we lost rock and roll. And he said, well, where did that moment come from? I was like, when Kanye got on. And they was like, why is that? I'm like, because Kanye is like, hip hop gave a voice to like people that America never cared about. The low class, urban street guy. It didn't matter if you were a part of the crime, but if crime, if your culture came around crime, that low class guy, you didn't have a voice, before hip hop. But guys like middle class guys always had a voice, especially even brothers, Theo Huxtable, Eddie Winslow, Willis, and they were always secondary characters in these ideas. It was about Arnold, or it was about Bill Cosby, or it was about, Steve Urkel. But Kanye became the first guy that, that we was like, okay, he's the guy we don't care about, but we gonna fuck with him. And I think he did such a good job of putting out his conversation over like super black ass fucking rhythms. You know what I mean? Like, his first song is as American as apple pie. Like, a nigga with insurance got into a car accident. Like, it's not like some niggas was chasing him. You know what I mean? Like, and they was finna kill him and he got into a car accident. It wasn't like he didn't have insurance. He was on Medi-Cal when he got into a car accident, because he's like a regular American that got into a car accident. But because he delivered it over this Shaka Khan platform, man, that gave like this super soul to the idea, man, we just felt beyond connected. And then the visual, it was super creative. And he would always deliver over all conversations, even Gold Digger, like he told us what he was finna get into in his life. He's gonna get on and leave her ass for a white girl. You know what I'm saying? And all that. But it was over Ray Charles. So we always felt like that urban appeal from that really black music. And now the music ain't as black under him. And niggas hear the same conversation and they losing their fucking mind. And they like, where? I want my old Kanye back. This been this crazy nigga. The first day, this was this nigga. So how I feel, I don't give a fuck what nobody say, because this is the nigga I always fucked with. I never was confused by the melodies. I don't give a fuck who. I'm listening to this crazy nigga talk the whole time. You know what I mean? So, shit,
Thanks,
you know,
man.
they finally listening. How about that? They finally listening.
You know, I think Kanye's not going to be appreciated till like he's no longer here, and I hope that's not the case. But like to me, I think dude is a genius. It just misunderstood his art.
He's unbelievable. He's, man, dog. Like, there's a line. Like, I was just telling somebody on Twitter, and they was talking shit, and it was like, I keep telling people, Ye's greatest album is whatever everybody agree on. Ye's best album is Ye.
You think so?
Yeah, and everybody think it's crazy, right? But to me, this is the first time he took what negative things people had to say about him and contested it. It wasn't like, I'm defending myself. It's I'm aggressive, and all the nigga came out of him. There's a line in Ghost Town, dog, that's so fire, right? Where he's like, far ahead, but way behind. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's like, that don't mean much, but everything he does is so fundamentally sound. Like, I always used to joke and say J. Cole is Tim Duncan, but Kanye West is Tim Duncan. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if Tim Duncan was doing a lot of interviews. I'm sure he sounds just like Ye. You know what I mean? His game is so structurally correct. You know what I mean? That you don't really know how to appreciate it. You just got to look up and be like, man, he just made it happen.
You know, Ye seems like Tim Duncan in real life, but in the booth, he's like KG to me.
I don't think he that sensational, stylish. You know what I mean? Like KG was like KG could play like a nigga that, Ye rap like a producer. You know, he never rapped like Quick is more like, to me, like that DJ Quick. Like, Quick be rapping crazy, you know what I mean? But Ye was always right within the lines. You know what I mean? Clean. Bank shot, always used the backboard, backboard. You know, he was just smooth. So either way, we still talking about the guy. So it's all good.
You know, before we go, like I want to talk about LA gang culture with you. You know, I don't bang like me personally, I don't bang on anything, but always found, you know, gang culture, especially on the West Coast, kind of fascinating and interesting from the outside looking in. What kind of separates, you know, West Coast gang culture from like, you know, like other regions like New York or Chicago?
Nothing. I just think it's branded better. Same shit. I ain't been to all these places, man. These niggas is crazy everywhere I went. Brooklyn, these niggas is crazy. I'm in Jersey, these niggas is crazy. I'm in Chicago, these niggas will blow your fucking head off. I just think we had really catchy titles.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot more with colors. You know, people love colors. You know, people love coloring books, man. You put a picture, some color, you know, you got most niggas. So, but I think we got the benefit of having Hollywood in our backyard. You know what I mean? Like, we got the benefit of having Hollywood in our backyard.
Like,
so,
do you think that Hollywood kind of sensationalized like gang culture and kind of like watered it down a little bit?
I don't know if they sensationalized it. Like, I wouldn't put that burden on them. I think it just was showcasing. It was compelling. It wasn't like they made it like it was this. Remember, like, even in Colors, like we talked about it earlier, the main three characters all had their life ruined. High Top was in trouble, Rocket got killed, and Frog went to prison for life. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's sensational. You know what I mean? So, but I think the Colors, I mean, it's just a representation of all. It's also like kind of like this offset of Cowboys. You know what I mean? Like, that's another thing that we got. Cowboys is out here. You know, we come from a culture of the Wild Wild West Cowboys, you know, Billy the Kid, Doc Holliday. Like, we're a progression of that. You know what I mean? So Cowboy move, you know, Cowboys, that shit is all about criminals. That's why I don't know why. Like, I heard Special Ed doing interviews like, oh, you know, they ruined it. It's like, not really, dog. People just in love with crime.
Yeah.
Like, people, you know, even when they say like drive-bys, I'm like, well, Al Capone and them made drive-bys popular. Them dudes used to just roll by a shop front and shoot a dude and tear all the glass out, hit the dude 4 times, but the whole glass is shot out. And So I don't think it really is that much different. I think I think other places are even more organized.
Uh-huh.
I think we just have really good brands. The brand of Crips and Bloods it's almost like Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might be other colas that taste better, bro, but the brand of Coke and Pepsi, you know what I'm saying, is like unfuckwittable. You know what I mean? And we were able to brand because Hollywood was in our backyard. And again, it's like it all goes back to the fact that our shit was on the big screen faster. And it's crazy.
Like over the last few years, a lot of people like from New York, Chicago, wherever, like rappers, athletes, they either been robbed or killed in like LA. Like for people like me who's not from LA, or like what can we do to like ingratiate ourselves with the people, that live in those communities so something like that won't happen besides using common sense.
That's 99% of it.
Is there like
Yes.
OG like people can like tap in with, or I don't know?
I mean, really just socialize with Black people.
Mm-hmm.
If you socialize, like when I go to Brooklyn and I first start hanging in Brooklyn and Flatbush and I start meeting people and I start networking with people, I didn't care about their street status. I just started fucking with the brothers. You know what I mean? And naturally you just start to understand everything because you have like an inside plug on what's going on as well. The more you socialize. Most of this stuff is happening because people don't socialize with the brothers. And if they do, sometimes some of the stuff is outside of the common sense stuff be just crazy. It's obvious you don't go to the ghetto with jewelry on.
Facts, man. Like, why would you go to the ghetto with a Richard Mille on, or like something like that?
Are you persecuting poor people with wealth? Like, why? Like, I wouldn't go into the jungle with a stake.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't strap stakes to my body and go into the jungle. And it's just. I think you just got to get more into the habit of socializing with the brothers, and again practice common sense and make sense of what you're doing. I mean, obviously, you don't want to be around poor people with a bunch of opportunity on. You want to look like you can give opportunity, not look like the opportunity.
I always wanted to ask somebody that was tapped in with this, but how do you feel about like, athletes that never gangbang in their life now all of a sudden claiming a set?
I think it's funny because it's like, this thing is dope. You know what I mean? It's not dope like I would recommend a kid to get involved, but it is a fellowship amongst brothers that's really special. You know what I mean? But the main thing also people got to realize is it's driven in poverty. Like you kind of forced to kind of, have your friends back thick and thin. You know what I mean? So it's weird when somebody got a bunch of money and, but again, they see the respect that we get amongst each other and from other people. They're like, I want that. It is a real primitive masculinity edge about it that people notice. You know what I mean? Like I used to be with Birdman and I walk in the room, everybody like, what's up, glasses? And I know Bird used to look like, damn. You know what I mean? It's fucking Birdman. This nigga got millions and millions of dollars. And it's like this little watch nigga that might got $200,000 walk in and niggas is like, what's up, glasses? And should come, he see me, he grab me, what up, nigga? And he like, damn, this nigga, so, it is a masculinity respect that, most men do want amongst men, that camaraderie, that love, that respect. Like you walked in and niggas see you here. So, I don't want to be I'm trying to get past that stage of trying to judge why somebody wealthy would care about what poor people think. But I mean, I guess we all Black. So at the end of the day, who don't respect amongst their own people? They don't know how to get it no other way. I guess they don't want to build no schools or open no factories and do the right thing, or they might can't afford to do it. A lot of that money be fake anyway. So there's some shit about it.
All right, man. Before we go, we have to talk some NBA, man. Are you Lakers or Clippers?
I'm a Laker. Showtime, baby.
Good, man. Like, how do you feel about the upcoming season?
We got too much revolved around somebody that been playing 30 years.
Oh, wow. So you think they should let LeBron go on his merry way?
It's business. Genie Bus got to sell them tickets. And LeBron ass gonna be able to sell tickets till he play. LeBron can play 40 years in the NBA. He gonna sell out the stadium, girl. There's LeBron James. People love that motherfucker, man. So, as a fan is one thing. As a I don't own the Lakers. As a fan, I'm gonna be like, yeah, we need to trade that nigga for whatever young stallions we can get. If I was Genie Bus, I'd be trying to ride that nigga to the motherfucking last day. Come on, nigga, Joe, put them shorts back on. Get back out here, nigga. We gonna get this money. So, as I get older, I think I start to understand things a little bit better. You know what I mean? So I just let them play and I just be a fan. Mm-hmm. Also, over the last few years, I've gotten closer to more NBA players and more athletes in general. And I think it's important that I stop judging minds of people that I don't actually know. Like, a lot of, you see players like, oh, he's mentally weak or he's scared of the moment. That's over. So now I just try to be a fan. I try to make my projections on my mathematical opinion and see if it happens. But outside of that, I'm more of a fan than I ever was. Like, I just watch you niggas play. I don't even want to talk about, if your coach is good or bad, Like, I might say one thing, like, Doc Rivers is not a good coach, but Doc could outcoach me standing under a table, so I ain't got no business saying shit about Doc fucking Rivers. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about Doc. You might be able to outcoach him.
No, man. Doc I'll be talking that shit, get a team, my team go 12 and 70, be fucked up. So I'm shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say what I think, but I'm gonna be real careful because I couldn't do none of them niggas' jobs. Like, them niggas couldn't come on the boulevard and be a Crip. Couldn't do none of them niggas' jobs. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas.
Facts, man.
You know what I mean? So let me shut the fuck up and let y'all do the hooping, and I'll just be putting my hands up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember once I got into it was like a mini game with like Tracy McGrady. I'm like, oh shit, this nigga's like this dude was legit. And this was like last year. Like
I was so hard. And Tracy was crazy. Tracy, I know he'd be like, fuck Glass, because I was like, I think Tracy McGrady is overrated amongst his contemporaries. But he was like, laugh. I was thinking to myself, Tracy, like, I can get this nigga 70 points. He couldn't score right now, and he ain't lying. So, like, I remember they was talking about Tracy McGrady was like, what pissed me off is they was like, Tracy McGrady and Kobe was, people, they was like 1A, 1B in real time. Yeah. Right. But as time happened, obviously, the nuanced things you can't see that makes the game, like all defensive first teams. Mm-hmm. That's when the separation, and that's championships and blah, blah, blah. So, but I remember I said that and Tracy laughed at me and shit. But I was thinking to myself, like, Tracy beat me and I wouldn't even score a fucking point. So I need to.
I think he was like, dude, just let me score. And then he gave me the ball back. I'm so like, all right, I'm about to lay it up again. Nope. He sent my shit. He got the ball back, and then that was all she wrote after that.
Man, I played Charles O'Bannon when he was a fucking senior in high school. I wasn't even in high school. I think it was an 8th grade finna go to high school. He was a senior. I played that nigga, man. Like, this nigga is not a nigga that went to the NBA and dominated. He was just like the best player in high school. Then he went to college and was good. He probably, I don't know if he was I don't think he didn't go number 1 in the draft, so he probably wasn't the best player in college, but he was good in college. He was great. But he was the great, man, it was the most embarrassing thing in my life. That motherfucker. So, again, as you get older and you get wiser, like, I could talk shit to any rapper except Busta Rhymes.
I think nobody wants to talk shit.
Yeah, that nigga. Jay-Z, I feel like we can get on the song. He'll be a little bit better. But I'm going to say some shit where he going to be like, damn, that was tight. Even like my idol, like a nigga like Scarface or Cube or Snoop or any of them, like, I'm going to get on there. We're going to do some things. Scarface is too, because his depth is out of this world. But Busta Rhymes is one of them niggas, man. I be seeing him rap with niggas, and I be like, niggas really don't know how good that nigga is, man. Niggas don't know how good that nigga is right now. That nigga is an animal. You know what I mean? So I'll be careful when I start talking about real senseis and practices. You know what I mean? Like, Tracy McGrady, cuz, is a first ballot Hall of Famer sensei, cuz, like, it got to be something. Like, I get what I'm saying, overrated compared to Kobe Bryant, but then he's probably not even overrated then. So you just got to reassess your thoughts and get wiser.
You know, speaking of senseis, you know, we got to talk about our boy Deion Sanders in Colorado, man. I'm expecting to seeing you on that sideline one day.
I'm not a football guy at all, but I would do anything for Deion Sanders. He's my second favorite football player. So shit, hopefully he figured it out because he in that shit, that Division I shit. I don't even fuck with football, man, but that college football seemed worse than the NFL. Them people was crazy, and you know, football already a racist ass sport. So you
Facts,
play
man.
with them people, man. Get them people, boy, they finna be coming out looking to kill that man every week.
I'm just riding with him just because he pissed off white people.
And that's all that, man. It don't matter. It's Deion Sanders. If we can't love Deion fucking Sanders, feel me? Then what do we like? It's people be cheering for Deion and people get mad. I be like, it's Deion. We always like nigga. Deion used to wear Atlanta jersey. Niggas play against him, cheer for Deion. Deion just one of them niggas that you just like Roy Jones Jr. You know what I mean? You just like them niggas.
Facts, man.
They're just likable guys. So
it's kind of like Jordan. People used to wear his sneakers while playing against them. So
I hate Michael Jordan. Like I'm a Showtime Laker. You feel me? So you know what 91 was like. I had every last pair of Jordans that ever came out, all the way to probably like 16. Yep, I can't stand that motherfucker.
That's where I pretty much stopped at 16.
Yeah, I can't stand that motherfucker.
Hey, man. Hey, man, I'm a Knicks fan, but
yeah, fuck Jordan. But I got all them shoes. I had all them shoes multiple times, so he can't be too bad of a nigga. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't stand on it when it came to shoes. I used to love that nigga shoes when I was a kid.
All right, man, before we go, I like to play a game called Start, Bench, Cut. I just named 3 things. You tell me you're going to start it, bench it, or cut it. All right? All right, so we got OG West Coast rap albums. We got Chronic 2001, Doggy Style, Death Certificate.
That's fucked up. So we're going to start Doggy Style. We're going to bench 2001, and we're going to cut Death Certificate. And that's fucked up. But also, I think The Predator is a better album. I think people who love, don't get me wrong, I get why they love Death Certificate, but I think The Predator is Cube's best album. My favorite Cube album is, so it's not personal for me, you know what I mean? But I think his greatest album is The Predator. I think his best album to me is it's crazy to sound War, the War disc. The War disc is a little different, but the War disc is dope.
Yeah, the one from 2000, 99, like
yeah, not the Peace disc, but the War disc, the first one, and the West Side Connection album. You know what I mean? That album was really good. So, but yeah, you gotta start Doggy Style. Doggy Style is probably the greatest hip hop album ever. You know, nothing is done more for culture than Doggy Style.
I still listen to it, like every once in a while.
Yeah, I really. It's crazy as I saw it happen, but I was more into dog food. But over the last 13, 14 years, 15 years, when I listen to Doggy Style, I just get better and better. 2001 is probably I like it. I prefer it more over Doggy Style because I was an adult when it came out. Like I was 19, 18 years old. And I like that album. But Doggy Style is just a different animal, man.
I think like 2001 was like one of the first CDs I brought.
Like, that's a good album. That album's crazy. That album's crazy, man. I chased the Glass House 2. I chased those mixes and spent $22,000 in mixing.
Oh, damn.
And never got close. Never got close. Like, I was like, okay, that's not how mixing works. You got to just do your own thing because that motherfucker is way out there. So, yeah, I would start Doggy Style, bench 2001, and I got to cut Death Certificate.
All right. The next one's hard. I ain't gonna lie. So we got Good Kid, Mad City from Kendrick. We got The Documentary, which I think is a classic. And we got Rhyme Pays from Ice-T.
That's really hard. Because Rhyme Pays, we don't get nothing else.
To me, without Rhyme Pays, you know,
you don't get nothing. Yeah, you don't have gangster rap. You don't have it.
There's no documentary. There's no nothing.
Yeah, there's no nothing. Okay. So I could be biased because Kendrick and TD, that's my family. And I'm not high on Good Kid, Mad City like everybody else. That's this generation's album. I think Damn is way better. like remotely, like way greater. I like the second album, To Pimp, way better. But Good Kid is a classic to the generation that it raised. So I'm gonna start the documentary because I was there to see it. I saw that happen to the release. Like I was at the first autograph release and I watched it go gold in the first week. So I'm gonna start documentary because I seen that up close and personal. I'm a bench Ryan Pace because Ryan Pace is like, that's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1987. You need that bitch on the bench to win the championship. You know, you need Kareem around, even if he gonna play 12 minutes, you know what I mean, to win a championship. You need Ryan Pace. You don't have a West Coast without it. And I'm gonna cut Good Kid only because Damn is my favorite Kendrick album and it's way better than Good Kid, Mad City.
I don't know. To me, Good Kid, Mad City, that's like a masterpiece. Like I put that in Illmatic.
I can't even debate it because Good Kid, Mad City is like, it's a classic even if it's not my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Illmatic, I don't really fuck with Illmatic like that, but like my favorite Nas album is Life Is Good. I think that's the best Nas album. I mean, to me, he wrote to the beats. It was slow. I feel more personal. I feel more connected to him. Mm-hmm. Then Stillmatic.
To me, like, cause I like storytelling rap. So to me, I kind of like gravitate more towards it. It was written.
It was written. It's like really low key. That's my third favorite Nas album, but it's probably the most disrespected album. You know, disrespected album in East Coast history. You know what I'm saying? That was a really dope album. But yeah, Good Kid, Mad City is a classic, and I can't slide it. But you know, if we on my list of what I'm starting, what I'm benching, what I'm cutting, if it was Damn, it'd be different. But that one, yeah, it'd be fucked up. You know what I mean? I wish I had the extra budget to sign it because I know what it is. But yeah, that would be the album I have to cut. I gotta keep Ryan Pace because you don't have Boys in the Hood without that song, without 6 in the morning. You need that. You need Ryan Pace.
All right, and the last one, I kind of mixed it up with TV shows and movies. So we got Menace, Colors, and Snowfall.
So I'm gonna start Colors. I'm a bench Snowfall, and I'm gonna cut Menace because Menace had fake datings when that nigga was talking about he was jacking that boy for datings, and it was crowns.
Oh, really?
I never let that go. I never let that fake datings go on that 5.0. You could have got some real datings. The Hughes brothers had a big budget. Them motherfuckers had millions of dollars. They could have got a real pair of datings. They did not have to have them fake ass datings. That spoiled that whole movie for me for the most part.
Boy, I remember I went to Louisiana for a summer vacation in like 1994 or 5. They was watching that shit on TV. I seen Eileen. I'm like, okay.
Eileen.
Whatever toys I was playing with at the time, that was over.
Yeah, that will raise you. When you see that bitch jumping out of that park and he blocked that bitch Civic in, and
that's my favorite scene of the whole thing.
What's funny is everybody puts so much pressure on Kane's 5.0. Shout out to Tyron. I just was talking to Tyron. It's crazy. I just did a drop. That's on my new video, Something for Bitches with Caffeine. What's up now, partner? So he's on my video that just came out yesterday or the other day. And it's funny because he references Menace to Society, which is dope. Check it out. But them fake datings on that fucking 5.0, on that 5.0, ruined that movie for me for a lot of years till I kind of came into this new birth of how I feel about culture. But for a long time, I would not fuck with Menace like that. Damn, just because them fake ass datings. And the star car of that movie is not those datings. The star car of that movie is Stacy's car, that rag glass house that was cut when they was waiting to pick up Kane car.
Mm-hmm.
When they was waiting to pick up Kane car, that shit.
Facts, man. That cherry red. I'm trying to like remember off the top of my head that because like the last time I seen Menace was like 2020 sometime. But anyway, I want to thank you for joining me today. You know, this was a dope ass conversation. Your album's dope. I think you're dope. Do you have any upcoming projects in the works?
So Cancel Dee Nutz is available. Shout out to my boy Gerald Taylor Steiny. He been helping me a lot. He got me hacked today too. I was just thinking about him. I'm gonna drop the reimagined version of Fuck Glasses Malone, which I put out. Fuck Glasses came out, but I'm gonna release the reimagined version of Fuck Glasses for my birthday. So probably around December 8th. My birthday is December 10th. I got a full-length album coming out probably in February after that. You know, not a reimagined idea that I've released already, but another full-length, album coming out in February. But right now, it's all about Cancel Dee Nutz. I got a lot of great content, a lot of great videos. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun making everybody laugh and bringing that humor back to hip-hop the way the West Coast, used to do it.